Welcome to Becoming the Ultimate Coach. I'm the Jock, this is the Doc, and this is where fitness meets psychology. We are on our fitness trends series, and today we're going to be going over weight loss challenges, fitness challenges. You see them in the gyms, you see big nutrition companies doing them. So, Doc, break it down for me. When you see these kind of challenges, are you swiping right, left, or are you looking a little longer?
I'm a swipe left on these. You?
I am swiping left as well. So you'll see a lot of these where they're like giving big money prizes for the people first. So they have actually got an email for one today being like, all right, enter in for your before and after pictures, and the best before and after picture, the biggest weight loss is gonna win this big prize. So
Wow.
Doc, get into the brainy stuff, like what's the pros and cons when it comes to that for these type of programs?
And I'm going to be the first one to say, like, if you've got a wedding or a special event and you're really just trying to, knock this out in 30 days or whatever it is for a special event, and you go into it with that understanding and that goal in mind, like, these can serve that purpose. But if you're going into it saying, like, I want to change my life, I want to look and feel better long term, like, I want this to be, I feel like a lot of people are setting themselves up for that roller coaster, or what a lot of times is called the yo-yo diet, or this, because you're all in. And I've said this, so many times before, of most of us can do something for a period of time, and we can really focus on it. But it's how long can we stay with it? And our tendencies are, is when something is really extreme on one end, when we are done with that, the 30-day challenge is over and we've got the great pics and all of that stuff, we tend to go back to our old habits, and sometimes even feel, because we felt deprived, we're going to go over to this other. And so depending on when your personality is, how you're wired, and your lifestyle, very few people does this set them up for long term. And we've even seen this in reality shows, things like that, where they've had people do extensive transformations. But when you look 2, 3 years, sometimes even 3 months later, 6 months later, it's not sustaining. And when I talk to people, I'm seeing this roller coaster of low self-esteem, and they view it as that they aren't successful because they couldn't maintain that. Or from a gym or trainer perspective, they're also going to view you as partnering with that. Like, I had that, but I couldn't sustain it. They couldn't help me keep it. Those type of things. And that negative feeling will then be associated with the place that they did that at. So there's just a lot of issues for me with that outweigh the pros on that. Your thoughts?
Yeah, this goes back to the extreme approaches. Like talk I was having with a client today is the amount of effort we need to give to see the results that we want. And so many of these programs, or even this one where they're actually showing, like, we need this, the best. People are going to be at a 10 for this. And then as soon as that challenge is over with, most people go back to the 1 or 2 they were before. And so this is this yo-yo. So people feeling like the only way to lose is to be this extreme approach. Where from the majority of the people, if we can get to a 5 or 6 on effort level, and it's going to vary from person to person.
Sure.
We can see changes over time, and we can see it's sustainable, and they're not feeling so guilty or bad about this is good food, or this is bad, or I'm being bad, or I'm being good. It's just this part that's just this tough on people. And really, when you have competitions and winners, there's only one winner.
Yeah.
There's all the other people who feel like losers because they lost during that. I'm not a fan of participation trophies, but this is one of the cases where, like, I want to give people some sort of reward for the process and not just the outcome, because that's the biggest thing that we talk a lot about, because what we have control over is the process. And if we're working one-on-one and we're trying to improve your water intake, and we're trying to get some of your alcohol replaced with some other escape behavior, and we're doing all these things, and you're doing all the things, then we're going to reward that, because that's what you have control over. Your exact weight or your exact picture is going to be a little bit out of your control, in the sense of, especially compared to everyone else, and how you're going to win. And I don't want you to feel defeated
Exactly.
by going through this process. I want you to be encouraged and feel like you have some control. So that's what it comes down to, as looking at it from a trainer's point of view. What are my short and long-term results? Short term, going to be really good. Long term, more than likely they're going to end up back to where they were, or even worse. So not a big fan of that effect. Your take on overall results for this?
Yeah, and it matches so much what we know with psychology, and you and I have talked about this before. We know that process goals way outweigh outcome goals as far as people's ability to stick with them and then have the desired results. So these short challenges are outcome. We're not learning new processes, because the habits that we end up going back to that you talked about are ones that we have formed over years and years and years. How we were raised, or college eating habits, or whatever it is. And so in 30 days, we're not erasing those. And as I've harped on before, we don't get brand new habits and get rid of old ones all in 30 days, multitude of things. It's not realistic. So we know that we aren't, and again, as I talk about, one of my things is always long-term habit change. How is this impacting? And we're not going to be able to do that with this. The other part too is that from a lifestyle factor, it's telling the brain these things are incompatible with my daily living. I have to clean out my cabinets and my fridge. I have to only have these things. I have to change up my schedule, all of those types of things. So the brain has a really hard time seeing how this kind of fitness life could be my life. And then also as a parent or someone that's a friend or anyone that's influencing, if I'm modeling that the only way is these extremes and those types of things, I'm not modeling the joy and the positive impact long-term of being on a fitness journey. So for me, those are some of my concerns. And I'm sure too, how that plays into getting clients and retaining clients has to be a thought that you have as a trainer and a gym owner.
Yeah, absolutely. And I look at this from a marketing standpoint. Now, having some before and after pictures is a good marketing tool. I used to use these all the time. The problem is it's still going to be a bit polarizing for some people. If they see someone that makes a huge transformation, they're going to think that's too far a goal for them. So it might scare some people away. The other thing with the marketing aspect of it too is like we got to set up realistic goals for people. If someone comes in and they saw before and after, and it was someone that's much younger, doesn't have kids, has the ability to work out a bunch, and they've had this big transformation, and they want to do that, and then they don't have that same success, and then they're going to feel like a failure or you didn't do a good job. So we got to be careful with this on the marketing standpoint of that. So it can be a good, initial bump in people, but long term, if you want to be in this business for a while, which I'm hoping you do, is you got to think of the ramifications of that. Your take on that?
Yeah, and I like that you brought up marketing, because it's, what are we marketing? Are we trying to sell, and again, I like to think about the industry as a whole and how are we supporting the fitness industry? And am I selling the perception that healthy and fit is only visual, and I have to have this lean, I have to see all the muscles, there's got to be a six-pack, that's what fitness is? I mean, when we all talk, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people that are working on their stress management, that are having positive, healthy relationships, that can move and engage with family and friends, have blood markers that, are going to support a long-lasting life, a longer and a quality of life. And so if we keep talking to clients about, hey, it's not all about the scale and it's a journey and all of these things, but yet we're marketing like, hey, you got to look like this. This is a change. This is a transformation. Whereas a transformation can be, I've improved my blood markers. I'm moving better. I might have lost some weight along the way. I'm happier and I'm overall healthier. So we also have to think about what we're saying in the fitness industry, because if we're saying one thing to the clients to their face and kind of say, oh, don't worry about scale, or don't do this, or don't focus on that, but yet this is what we're marketing, then we're, again, misrepresenting expectations, and then we're wondering why we're not keeping clients and why people are so reticent to join our kind of amazing gang. So,
and the other side I look at this from is the business on the revenue and profitability side of it. So this is going to be a short blimp in the overall bigger scheme of things too, because you're going to get people in, they might get excited and they want to be on this challenge, and you give them some money for winning or whatever, but at the end of that, what do? Do you just continually run these back and back and back? People can get burnt out on that.
Yes.
And it's not going to give the right information for them to have good long-term success.
Exactly.
So when it comes to the marketing and the business, the results, all of this, when these challenges just come in for short-term results and overall just feeding this bad kind of way our industry is on extremes, and we're trying to get away from that. So to wrap this up, we want to hear from you when it comes to weight loss challenges, transformation challenges. Are you swiping right, swiping left, or you want to look a little longer?